Welcome to another episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast. I'm your host, Dana Lynn Kay. This week we have a really cool topic. It's actually a topic that, you know what, they're like, I don't know if I want to describe them as like buzzwords around social media, but gut health and hormones have been a really hot topic in the recent, I would say like five years or so, and more people are talking about it. It was a topic that really wasn't brought up often, and I have a special guest who I've been following for a long time. I think we've actually been following each other, and I love her content, and she puts out a lot of really great information about hormones and gut health. So a lot of my followers have asked me like, hey, can we, like, hormones are always, if I put up a question box saying, what do you guys want to hear about? Hormones are always part of that discussion. And then every now and then, like, gut health comes up because it's just something that people deal with. So my guest today is Ashley Shields. Welcome, Ashley.
Hi.
Ashley is a functional health, what did we say? We said certified functional nutritionist. Okay. Yeah. And like I said, I love all of your content, and I actually have I mean, you're on Instagram, you call them followers or whatever, but it's like she's almost like a friend now because she's like, we've DM all these years. She follows all my stuff, and her name's Sandra, and she has been working with you, and she speaks so highly of you. And every time, I mean, we're like girls, we're both Jersey girls, and Sandra and I have like so much in common. And so we chat all the time. And then whenever I say, who should I have on the podcast? She always mentions you because she's had such success working with you. And finally, I was like, okay, let's do this, and let's like get into the nitty gritty of these, of the topics. So first of all, can you just give us some background about yourself and how you even got into functional nutrition?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to keep this short and simple, but let's just say I had a lot of symptoms probably about, I don't know, 6 years ago. Went to doctors. They thought I was crazy, wanted to give me like good old like Miralax, PPIs, anxiety meds. And I couldn't figure out why I didn't have my period for 2 years, why I looked pregnant by the end of the day, why I couldn't lose weight. I was gaining 1 pound per week. And I was already a personal trainer. I know what nutrition is. I was working out a little too hard, but I was working out 6 to 7 days in the gym. And I'm like, why am I gaining this weight? Why don't I have my cycle? I also competed in bikini competitions, and I really feel like that put my body over the edge, to be completely honest with you. And I remember going to see a gastric doctor, and I said, I think I have SIBO, and he thought I was crazy. He thought I was absolutely crazy. He's like, no, you don't. You just have IBS, take some Miralax, because I was constipated too. Well, I found a functional company, and that's how it all changed for me. I did a GI map test. I had SIBO. And which causes metabolic resistance, downregulates your thyroid. You don't absorb your nutrients. It screws up your hormones. It's like a big domino effect.
And what is SIBO? Just to explain to the people listening if they don't know. Yeah.
So it's small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So your good bacteria can overgrow and go up into your small intestine.
Do they know why that happens? Why does that even happen?
So there's so many causes: stress, trauma. If you take a lot of antibiotics, believe it or not, birth control can do that. PPIs can do that. Parasites. It's just more like, it's more like how full is your bucket, like your toxic bucket. And then like how full is it? When does it overflow?
Wow.
And that's all the symptoms can hit you because your bucket's overflowing, essentially. So, and I can relate to Sandra. Me and her had a lot of similarities, especially with competing. I feel like that put her over the edge. That filled up her stress bucket and overflowed it.
Yeah.
Because she has a lot of same weird things like, why do I look like I'm pregnant? Why can't I lose this weight? I'm a trainer. I should know how to do this, right? You're like going through all the things. And sometimes it's not all about working out and nutrition. It's what's going on internally that impacts your health and your metabolism.
I see that a lot in people who are trainers or competitors, or they're like living actually like the lifestyles that you would think like they're doing everything, they're checking the boxes, everything that we say, like get to the gym, eat healthy, like, and then I think when you're a competitor though, then that's where you like cross over where it stops being like that balanced lifestyle where you're pushing your body to a limit it's never been before. And then that's stress. No matter like whether you like it or not, it's still a stress. And then that's what pushes you to the point where these things start to happen. The breakdown starts to happen, right?
Every competitor I have worked with all had SIBO. Everything pretty much what
Wow.
I had, like the distended stomach, can't lose weight now. It's really hard for them. They have to eat like super, super low calories just to even like lose a pound. It's something I definitely seen a correlation with all competitors, at least what I've worked with. So
Yeah. It really does screw. I mean, oh my gosh. So I had I worked with a functional nutritionist a couple years ago because I also was a competitor for 10 years. I competed in figure and I had bloating every night after I would eat my big salad. And I thought that was just natural. I was like, it's normal. It's just a lot of vegetables. I'm very gassy. Like all day long, my stomach would be flat and I'd wake up with a flat stomach. And then as I ate throughout the day, and I was always like, I'd eat very small throughout the day to keep my stomach kind of like small and tight because I knew that if I put a little too much into it or if I ate like vegetables that were very, I don't know, like fibrous, certain like broccoli, onions, cauliflower, like there were things that then like kind of pushed my stomach to all of a sudden I couldn't hold. And my mom would be like, hold in your stomach. Why do you look like you're pregnant? Hold it. And I'm like, Mom, I can't help it. Like my stomach is like, it just balloons out. And by the end of the night, every night, not only was my stomach huge, but I had the worst gas like ever. And it was like mortifying all the time. Like I would be like, why do I have this awful gas? And so I ended up working with somebody because I also went through where I had like, I went on birth control, which I should never, I did a IUD that had hormones, screwed up all my hormones. But I will say the one thing that did work for me. I did not have SIBO. I did take all the tests. Like I did every test you could. I was like trying to dig deep. Like what are all I did the food sensitivities test. I did the thing where they test your poop. I did like everything. I did not have SIBO, but I had bacteria in my gut. And I did this protocol that I was like, okay, I can't imagine this is going to work. They called it a pulse, like the pulsing where I took these bacteria killers and I would do it where it was like a high carb days where you'd feed the bacteria and then there was low and then we'd kill the bacteria. Now, let me just tell you, so I buy all the stuff to do it and I don't remember how many weeks it was to kill this bacteria and to get this to go away, but I'm doing it and I'm doing it and I'm doing the program and I'm sticking to it just like it was a prep. Like I'm following the diet. I'm taking all the bacteria killers and the whatever. And I still have the bloating. I still have the gas. And I'm just like, this is crazy. I'll never forget my last dose was we were on a boat during the summer on my mom's boat and we were away. I take my last dose. I don't know what it was. I ended up going to the bathroom. I never had the gas and bloating again. The protocol, I had to finish every single pill. I don't know. I was like, this is wild. Like if I had it was like when they tell you to finish your antibiotics because you really need to finish. I finished it. I took the last pill in the bottle because I was like, I'm giving this my all. Like I got to get rid of this disgusting bloating and this gas. This was a couple years ago. It vanished. It vanished. I have not, my stomach all day long, even at night, is now flat. I don't have the disgust. I killed the bacteria in my gut and I got my gut balanced. And so I became a believer after doing that protocol because it worked on me. And like, I don't like to speak on things unless I've really done them. So I will say that yes, like getting your bacteria in your gut is real, like getting it right.
Take up to, depends on the individual, it can take anywhere from 12 to 24 weeks in a gut protocol. I took 24 weeks. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
And Sandra was same. Like she was pretty bad. You know what I mean? So, and it can be daunting because it's like, okay, you're just going through the motions, but you just have to just take it one day at a time, and it will come all together in the end as you saw. essentially.
Yeah, it was really that like trust the process. I really had to trust the process, and I really did it like it was my protocol. It was my medicine. It was how I was, and I was like, I need to heal my gut. Like there's obviously something going on. Like my gas was horrendous. My bloating was horrendous. And I remember I'd go into work and Kelly, at Devotion, my stomach would be sticking out, and she's like, "Are you pregnant?" And I'm like, "No, man, this is like bloating." Like I looked like I was 4 to 5 months pregnant with my twins. Like it was like I was like, "This is a problem." And she was like, "Yo, what is going on with you?" So yeah, and it actually did solve my issues. So that is why I did want to talk about, gut health. And ever since I've been really good. Like I'll still get gas from things like onions give me gas, and it is just what it does. But it's not that type of bloating where I'm just like, oh my God, like this is, I couldn't even hold in my stomach. It actually hurt.
Hmm?
So
yeah, I couldn't even suck my stomach in. It was like just like poofed out, and I had the worst stinky farts too.
Right? No, I mean,
a horrible gut issue. So I know how embarrassing that is. It's like,
and it's like offensive to the whole family. Like my kids were like, "Mom, you just always are disgusting at night." And I'm like, I can't help it. Like I wish I knew what to do. And then I'm like, what am I supposed to eat? I've been for years, I eat my vegetables, I eat my protein, I eat my, so then you're like, well, what am I supposed to eat to not get this bloating and gas? But really everything starts causing it.
And people start to get this food fear then because they're afraid to eat food, and then they damage their metabolism more because they're not eating because they don't want to feel the way they feel, essentially with the bloating and uncomfortable.
So it's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And then you're making the problem worse and worse.
Yep, exactly. And a lot of people do that when they come to see me. They're like, I'm just afraid to eat because everything just bothers me, blows me up. You know what I mean? So your body, when you have all this going on, it will upregulate your immune system. And all of a sudden, too, you'll start to develop food sensitivities, but you really don't have those true food sensitivities. It's due to what's going on in your gut, essentially, that leads to that.
Okay, because that's right. So I took a food sensitivity test, and it came back like zucchini, chicken, turkey. Like it was like everything that I ate. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like what? It was like everything that I ate was on that list. And for a while, I was trying to stay away from the stuff. And it wasn't that anything came up in red, like with the tests, like just to tell people, like it'll be food sensitivities and like it'll be like, what is it, like green, yellow, and red, or like the colors. Like if you're in the red, it's like stay away. This is not good for you. But I had a lot of ones. I didn't have many reds, but I did have ones that were like obviously I was being bothered by them. But once I cleared up that bacteria issue, I now eat all that stuff again, and I'm fine.
Exactly.
And I think the same thing happens with people who think that they're lactose intolerant. What do you think?
Yeah. Usually 9 out of 10 times, yeah, it's due to what's going on. Because I'll have people where I'll pull it for a while I'm healing their gut, and then I'll slowly add it back in. They're like, oh, I didn't react to it. I can have like yogurt again, you know what I mean? So like, I was me. I couldn't eat no yogurt. I would get like bubble guts.
Yes.
But now I can eat it with no issue.
So tell me like your philosophies on, so it sounds like you came from a similar background where you were a trainer and a competitor and all of that. Where are you at now, and how, when you work with people, I mean, obviously you're healing people who have all these different issues, and we'll get more into that. But like, as far as just so people kind of know, like your belief system as what a healthy lifestyle should look like. Where are you with that? Like, what do you think, where do you think people need to like kind of be with their lifestyle? Like, what does it look like to you when somebody works with you? Because I know, with training and the whole thing, like, because a lot of times people want more. Like they want prescribing my cardio. Can I train all week long? Like where do you...
This is where it gets a little tricky, and it's hard for people to wrap their mind around it. It was for me in the beginning. I pulled back on their training because their body's already stressed out. You just need to slow down just for a little bit to heal the body. So I will essentially prescribe a lot of walking. I'll suggest Pilates and yoga, and if any, resistance training 2 or 3 times a week. And I'll do this for a while until their body's in a better state, because you're just making it worse. By HIIT cardio is horrible. Like HIIT training is horrible for the gut. I did all of that. And I was just driving my hormones into the ground because my gut was already a mess and I didn't know. But obviously other changes limit it's pulling back caffeine because it's a stress on the adrenals, then it is a stress on your gut because of the acidity. Obviously I encourage basic things like lots of water, a gallon of water with electrolytes, eating more whole foods, less processed foods, like Mediterranean based, but the biggest thing that people have a lot of trouble with is pulling back on the caffeine because it's so addictive. It's such like a habit for everyone, and pulling back on training. That's a lot of people struggle with that.
Now, do you think that we're more susceptible to it as we get older? Like we're more delicate, like especially with women as we're getting, say, like into, I find I got away with a lot more, like say in my 20s or 30s. And now like I just turned 44 and
your body doesn't handle how it handled it when you're in your 20s. Your hormones are shifting, things are shifting, different stressors. Your body can't like essentially recuperate or adapt as it was in its 20s. I beat my body to the ground in my 20s. No wonder.
Yeah.
I ended up with all my stuff and I was a hot mess in my 30s. You know what I mean? So
is it just because we all think that like more is better? Is that?
Yeah, I get a lot of people think that. I'm like, it's not always better. There's certain periods in your life that, yeah, you can do that. But if you do it on a continuous cycle, it's going to end up to bite you in the butt in the end. So it's just going through seasons of that, essentially like pulling back or doing more, like just going through pulses of that.
Okay. So that's great because there are some people like right now for me, even, I take really long walks some days. And then yesterday I did like a run where I put some sprint work in there, but like, I don't do that every day. The thing is like some people still want to like push their bodies and they still want to like train and feel exhilarated or kind of like train for performance or run a 5K or do those things. It's like, are we still able to do those things? Or does it have to be, or are we supposed to just like not do that anymore and just only walk and only chill? Because then I feel like when I start to chill too much, now my body's going to crap.
Right. And I get what you mean. So I usually say that once your body's in a better state, like how's your gut health, how's your hormones, then yeah, you can throw some of that in there. It's just not doing that day in and day out. It's taking breaks, whether you be changing it up every 6 months instead of doing it, year after year with no breaks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to walk the rest of your life and only do yoga. It's just like you may need to do this for a short period of your time just to heal. And then you can start slowly adding in that more high intensity stuff, but it's also taking a break from that. It's just kind of like pulling back, then pushing. So it's okay to go through those cycles. It's just, you just don't want to do it year round. That's what happens to people when they end up like, what's going on with me? And they have all these issues essentially.
Right. So, and then do you think, is there the style of eating that you most promote is like you said, like a Mediterranean style?
Yes. And I'm big on eating small meals throughout the day as well, like every 3 hours. Certain individuals, I will do some intermittent fasting with. I'm big into fasting as well, but done at a healthy way. And there's certain periods of time where you can do that. If you come in a hot mess with gut imbalances, hormone imbalance, it's not going to be very smart for you to do that in the beginning. Let's get your gut in order. Let's focus on getting the proper nutrients. And then once you feel better, I'm going to pop some fasting in because it's great for blood sugars and autophagy. And that's a whole nother topic about autophagy, your body eating your like senescent cells, like bad cells, taking out the garbage. But there's pretty cool things when it comes to that fasting and autophagy. So.
Okay. And just speaking of that, and then that kind of bridges into hormones. Now, in that area, I had a different experience where I ended up doing that protocol with the autophagy, and I had a thing where I was supposed to fast for 2 days in a row every week. And I did. And it was like where I fasted all day. I think it was like 16 hours. And then I ate, there was like a keto style, like 500 calories at the end of the day. And then I would do that again. And I did it for 2 days in a row. It ended up like crashing my hormones and my thyroid so bad. And I had never had a thyroid issue in my life. And I ended up with where after I did that, my hair was coming out in clumps, okay, in the shower, to where my daughter started crying once because she's young, and she was like, do you have cancer? I was like, no, but like, why is my hair coming out? I was cold all the time. My sleep was awful. Like, everything was being thrown off, and I was gaining weight, and I didn't know what was going on. And I got my blood work done. And after doing that fasting protocol so hardcore, I had no progesterone, no testosterone, no estrogen, and I had no thyroid. T4 and T3 were done. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a train wreck. And I just went through all this stuff to fix myself. And so I was like, you know, and I know that when you work with coaches, like even coaches are trying to figure out what's right for you. Like, you know, it's not so like cookie cutter where the same protocol works for everyone.
It's so individualized. Like, everybody comes in here does not get the same thing. Everybody is unique to their symptoms, to their lifestyle. You know what I mean? So
do you think extreme fasting can be hard on some women and their hormones? Because it was really bad on my hormones, the extreme fasting.
Yeah, you got to be very careful with it, and you should only use it for short periods of time. I don't use it a lot, only in certain cases, and my clients are super educated about it, and I explain why I'm doing it. But I don't like fasting for myself. I absolutely hate it. I hate it with a passion.
Oh, I hated doing it. I'm an eater.
15 hours, like fast for 15 hours, then I'm good. But anything more than that, I'm like, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm the same. I'm an eater, and it was really hard for me. And I toughed through it because it was like, okay, we're going into autophagy and we need this. And then meanwhile, it's like maybe I was accomplishing one thing, but like I was doing damage to something else. And I'm still now I'm on a thyroid med probably for the rest of my life, unfortunately. And like, so you know, it's like, it's really important to work with the right people, I guess, to know the right protocol for you, you know.
You most likely, and I don't want to say this, but you most likely can get off that medicine with a supplement. I use like Thyroid Boost Plus or GTA.
Okay.
For people off their thyroid meds. So because you got to think about it too. I get why you're taking it, but your body will adapt to it, and you'll slowly see your dose increase, and you can come weight loss resistance down the road from it too.
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, I just want to like throw that in there. Like, there is like a natural herbal supplement you can do to support your thyroid versus, you know, taking a medicine too. But yeah, I mean, you got to be super careful with fasting. Do I feel like there's benefits of doing like a 48 or a 72-hour fast, like maybe once a year or once every 6 months? 100%. Like, that's not going to do like a lot of damage as long as you're eating the, you know, healthy lifestyle leading up to that, essentially.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So let's see. So what else? I mean, I want to talk about hormones. Obviously with the gut health thing, are they all connected? Like, would you say hormones and gut health is a separate thing, or do you think that they like work simultaneously?
They work together. Gut impacts hormones. So for example, we process estrogen through our gut. So we have an enzyme called beta glucuronase. And when it gets out of control, what happens here is it starts recycling the estrogen back in the body, and it can become more toxic, leading to estrogen dominance, which is like weight gain, fatigue, bloating, water retention, mood swings, painful periods, you know, swelling. So if we're not like pooping on a daily basis, or if we're not absorbing our nutrients, it's going to affect our hormones. And typically when we have estrogen dominance, we usually see lower progesterone as well.
Okay, I had that. Yeah.
And when we have higher estrogen too, it also flares our immune system, and therefore also the estrogen can impact our thyroid as well when we have that excess estrogen in our body. So, because our liver can't also like get it out like it should too, because the liver and gut like all work together.
So it's a lot. So it's like if one thing's going on, chances are it's affecting everything.
Yeah, I always tell people gut and liver are like best friends in there. If one's off, the other is off. So that's why you always have to work gut first before you get hormones optimal. It's how it has to go, because you'll just screw yourself up if you don't do it in that order. So. Okay.
So pooping every day is really important because we're getting rid of the extra estrogen, and that's like a takeaway right there. So like, making sure you're regular.
Everybody's like, oh, really? You need to go to the bathroom on daily? I'm like, yeah.
So.
And I love when doctors say, take Miralax. No, I wish they would just tell them take magnesium glycinate. I don't know why doctors won't tell you that. Like, it just blows my
You think
mind
they were getting a
because
kickback or something from Miralax? It's like, I don't understand. Like, yeah, why is it just that they're not? And these are coming from like gut health doctors or like, what are they called? GIs. Like,
doctors, I was told the exact same thing. And the thing is, there's machine lubricant in Miralax. I don't want to take that. Why would I want to take machine lubricant? That's not healthy, obviously, for your body.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I take magnesium every night before bed, and
Yeah.
that definitely has helped me. I mean, it also helps you just relax, and we need it. I mean, is that why a lot of people do struggle also with constipation? Is that they don't have magnesium?
Huge. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I tell someone to add that in. Now, the dosage is dependent on the person, but that usually 9 out of 10 times fixes the person, because we're magnesium deplete because a lot of us having like anxiety and stress. So automatically we're going to deplete magnesium. It's like we use magnesium for so many things. So a lot of people are depleted in that.
Right. Um, so another, before we go over to some more hormone stuff, another buzzword people hear, I don't want to call it buzzword, but meaning like you hear it, is a gut microbiome.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And like, how do we know ours is good?
So your gut microbiome is made up of a whole bunch of like thousands and thousands of bacteria, good and bad bacteria. Now, the only way to know like how healthy your gut is or if you have a right balance is doing a stool test, a GI map test, a de novo test. They're the only two that I truly trust. I more so use the GI map test with my clients. So it just gives you a whole background of like H. pylori, commensal bacteria, despotic bacteria, yeast, if there's yeast overgrowth, any blood in stool, inflammation, how are your enzymes? Can you break down fats? How are you with gluten? So it gives you like a big overview. That's the best way to tell like how healthy your gut microbiome is.
So then when you get those test results back and you're obviously someone who knows how to read them, you can see like what somebody's lacking, and then you can make sure that you give them what they're missing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I can tell if like they need more like prebiotics or they have overgrowth and they have to go in a gut protocol. Do they need supported with, you know, fat to help digest fats or enzymes to break down your carbs, proteins, and fats? Do they need to stay away from gluten? So it can tell me a lot of that about the individual. So
Oh, that's really interesting. I mean, that it's so funny because when they say how like your gut also affects your mood.
yes, because we have like 70% of our serotonin levels are in our gut are happy hormones. So if your gut's inflamed or imbalanced, you're more likely to have more anxiety and depression. And for a short period of time, unfortunately, I had to go on anxiety meds. I was having panic attacks in the freaking shower. I'm like, what is going on with me? And this is when my gut was all screwed up. I didn't realize it was linked together.
Oh
So
wow. Is that also
yeah.
like so with depression and people who suffer and it's like they don't even know why it could actually be linked to their gut?
Oh yeah, because also your gut and brain's connected. I'll see people have brain inflammation, like on a Dutch test. It's because their gut's imbalanced. So I see that. I don't know
Wow.
what's going on with my New Jersey girls, but I would say about 90% have brain inflammation that live in New Jersey.
Brain
I'm not even kidding you. I just been noticing it. It's odd. I don't know if there's some toxic air going over there in New Jersey.
and how do you detect that and how do you get rid of it? Like that's actually really scary to hear. I'm from Jersey.
It's a Dutch test.
Oh,
There's a brain inflammation marker, but normally this is an oxidative stress issue. This normally is a gut imbalance issue. So ALA is really good for brain inflammation. So I definitely will put them on that. But I will address the gut because 9 times out of 10, that is a big cause because it's causing a lot of inflammation overall in their body, and their body's holding on to toxins as well, and they can't get it out as well. Like their lymphatic system can be essentially blocked.
oh
So it's
wow.
everything at once. But it's just a weird thing I've just been noticing in my New Jersey people. I no clue why.
I
So,
mean, yeah, that's kind of wild. Yeah, I'm born and raised Jersey, so I have taken a Dutch test before, and just to explain to people what a Dutch test is because it's not very common. I mean, I don't think.
no, because it's a functional test, but it's a urine test, and it looks at your adrenals over a 24-hour period. It tells me what your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are doing, pathways your estrogen is going down, methylation, androgens, B vitamins, melatonin, neurotransmitters, oxidative stress, brain inflammation, gut inflammation, and biotin levels. So it gives you like a really huge in depth, like what your body's doing. I always tell people, you know how you go to the doctor, get blood work done, you have all these symptoms, your blood work comes back, and it's normal, the famous words. But you're feeling all these symptoms. While you do a Dutch, this is different. It's testing hormones that are in your fat tissue and your muscle. So although your blood can show normal, it's because it's what's in your fat tissue and muscle. And the Dutch can show you, like, hey, this is what's really going on. You're not crazy, essentially.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've done the Dutch test before. I'm actually due to do another one. I'm going to be doing one. I'm supposed to be doing one on the 19th of the month because that's like where I'm supposed to take it with my cycle. And of course, I'm traveling to Canada and Australia that day. But like, I'm dying to kind of see. It's such an in-depth, it's such a great test. Yeah, to give you, I mean, what you just listed, I mean, that is like a whole lot of info from just peeing on some sticks all through the day or whatever. It's amazing.
I mean, it's something too, like I can personally order and do a review too if anybody was ever interested. So, um, but
Would you
you
say
don't
that's
have
a
to
place that
try.
some people should start if they're feeling like something's off, or is that something that you would first work with the person and then say like, okay, I think a Dutch test is in order, like not everybody needs that in depth?
Yes, agree. It can go either way. It depends on people's financial situation too. Not everybody can afford, the supplements, the coaching, and the test. I am so well diverse. I know what to look for with my experience. I feel super like confident not to like have a big head on my shoulder or anything. I just have a lot of experience. So I'd be like, listen, I feel confident. I know what's going on. We don't need to do the Dutch test. Or there'd be some individuals like, hey, there's this like one last symptom I can't put my hands on. We should probably do a Dutch test. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like it can go a little bit different ways. So I mean, testing is always great if I'm going to be honest,
Well,
but
testing
not
will
everybody.
help like solve a lot of mysteries, and because sometimes you really don't know what's going on. There are a lot of people who have stuff going on that it's just like you can't. I mean, unless you really dig deep and do some of these tests. I know another test. Do you ever test for like heavy metals? Do you ever find that people like that's an issue with people?
I haven't really done those type of tests.
Okay.
If you work the gut, you're going to get heavy metals out anyways.
Okay.
To be because you always are on something that breaks down biofilms, and biofilms hold metals. So most likely, if you're working all that system, you'll hit that anyways.
Okay, so that's good. That's good to hear. I know, like, oh my gosh, there are so many tests. I've worked with somebody who had me do so many tests. I was sending in pieces of hair. I was like, I mean, we did so many tests. I did this deep dive, and I think it was just to like cover all the bases. I think I was, it was like I was almost 40, and it was after I took out that IUD and everything went haywire. Like, I had a copper IUD for, I think whatever it was, 7 years, whatever. And I had no issues. And like my body responded and everything was beautiful and everything was great. And I switched to a hormonal IUD and it was like hell broke loose. Like I took it out and it was just, everything was a mess. And it was the first time in my life I felt really, not the first time in my life. I mean, but like it was first time in a long time that I felt really out of control. Like that I didn't know what was going on with my body.
Yeah, because it's like, a lot of people feel like, they just can't control their body anymore. Like they used to have control over it, and now they can't.
What does the hormonal birth control do? Like, why does it do that?
So it can also disturb the bacteria in there, and it also overburdens the liver because you got to think about it. The liver is big in detoxification and getting out hormones. So it's trying to like get out those synthetic hormones. It's almost like it's a stressor to it. So it kind of like slows it down, inflames it. And that can just lead to issues with like blood sugar imbalance. Again, that causes inflammation. That can disrupt your gut microbiome. So it's like a big just circle domino effect, what it can do. So, but it does impact your gut bacteria.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm not a fan now of birth control after seeing what it did to me. It was devastating, and it took me a while to get a handle. I mean, now I don't use any hormones anymore. I'm actually in a place right now where I'm not taking anything, which is crazy because I'm 44, and even though I'm going to do some hormone test, but I just started doing all kinds of, trying to get like my progesterone up and then my estrogen down. And I was so much, and it got overwhelming, and finally, and like nothing was changing. And I did a liver detox thing. I stopped taking everything, detoxed my liver. And now I'm just like chilling right now. And we're going to see like where everything falls and see how I feel. But right now, the only thing I'm taking is the thyroid stuff, and I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm like, okay, I mean, so like maybe I'm just in a good place, and but also I think a lot has to do with my lifestyle, that I don't do all that crazy overtraining like we were talking about before.
Yeah, because that can, like I said, too much of it too long over stresses your body, whether you like it or not. It puts stress on your adrenals. It can drive hormones down, and as women age, we get more touchier, especially when we get close to that perimenopause, menopause stage. We got to be a little careful. So, strength training is great, but you don't want to do a lot of HIIT, or you don't want to overdo it by doing like 6 to 7 days a week. Find a happy medium, like 3 to 4 days a week. Like that's a happy medium. That way, you're not overdoing it.
And you believe so women can still get those aesthetic changes that they want. And
well, it depends where their hormones are at. Some people have to put on bioidentical hormones because they got nothing in their system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Testosterone's huge in women. I see people needing that as soon as their 30s. Like, I'll be honest, I'm on testosterone injections. I produce none. I just don't. I never have. So, and I feel like a new person, because in women, that gives us our libido, gives us energy. It helps hold our muscle as well. So I'm probably take that till the day I die,
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's wild. I'm trying to figure myself out because I still hold a decent amount of muscle, and like my testosterone, the last time I checked, it was like 7. Like I have like no testosterone, and yet my libido is pretty good, and I hold a decent amount of muscle, and I train pretty hard. And so it's like, that's why I need to figure out what's going on with me, because I was taking injectable testosterone. Well, first of all, I was doing the sublingual under my tongue, and it trashed my liver. Like I went to drink some champagne at a wedding in Jamaica, and I broke out in hives because my liver was so taxed that my liver was like, no, like I can't do any more. You're already screwing me with all of these sublinguals, because the injectable wasn't working either. I was injecting, and my testosterone would shoot up to like 400 the first day and then plummet right back down to the single digits. So I've been a weird case.
I'm on a super tiny dose, like 3 days a week that I do, testosterone injections.
That's what I was doing.
Like 3 other clients on it, and they're doing great with it. It's just starting out little tiny bits.
That's what I was doing. It was a tiny little bit. I mean, it was basically where you could barely see it in the syringe. I was like, okay. And I'm doing it, and it would like shoot me up so high. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. And then, because we did the blood test the day of the shot, and then I would do a blood test 3 days later, because we were trying to figure it out. But like, this is why like it's so important to work with people who know what they're doing, and to not give up on trying to figure out what's right for you, right? Because
yeah, I mean, you have to be patient with this process. When you're doing a functional root cause approach, which that's what I do, it takes time. You got to think about it. You didn't get screwed up in 2 weeks. This is over months and years. It's going to take a little bit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all want results yesterday. I get that, but that's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to take time. So
yeah, I think that's a big takeaway from all of this, is like, be patient with everything. And like, if right now I'd say, like, what would you say the biggest advice to somebody to prevent all of this from happening, or to like, I mean, if they think something's happening, obviously seek help, right? If they think like what are some signs that you should seek help?
Well, pregnant belly at the end of the night, you're not getting your cycle, you are gaining weight for no reason, even like multiple food sensitivities, your hair is falling out, skin issues, rashes, hives, like things that you don't understand what's happening and it's been happening. It's time to get help, time to invest in yourself, whether that be talking to a coach, whether that be doing functional testing, like Dutch test, GI map test, just to get some answers. So, but a lot of these women, when they come to see me, like that have actually like a call with me, they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And they're just now reaching out to me because they thought it was normal or they just weren't ready to invest in themselves, so by the time they come to me, they're like big old hot messes,
So then what would you say, like your advice would be to prevent yourself from becoming a hot mess? Because a lot of times people want to get ahead of it. Like you don't want to fall apart. So like, are there things that that everybody should take as far as like, what are like 3 habits and then like 3 supplements or something like that we could give as like a takeaway of like, here, like, use these things to help you not fall into the traps or, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, the simplest thing I can say is drink a gallon of water a day. People underestimate that 100%. Like you'd be crazy. Everybody's like, oh, I only drink 60 ounces. I'm like, no, you need to flush your inflammation out.
Yeah.
Number 2, try to eat as much whole foods as you can. You don't like that. The stuff they put in our food that's processed now, like that can screw you out with like inflammation, nutrient deficiencies. And then probably number 3, try to limit your toxin load because that again can impact hormones. So like try to switch out, even if it's just your lotions, your perfumes, or your makeup or whatever it may be. Pick a few things and start switching them out to more organic and non-toxic. And that's going to help your toxin load as well, your stress bucket, so it won't get so full and then overflow.
Right. Do you like sauna for that? Do you think sauna helps with toxins? That's like something that.
So I think saunas are super helpful, but overdoing it can also upregulate your immune system. So again, it's finding that healthy balance. I feel 2 or 3 times a week is significant. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
I have a sauna too, and I do it 2 to 3 times a week. If I do any more, my body does get flared up because my immune system is touchy. But my immune system loves cold stuff like cryotherapy, cold plunges. I hate that, but
I hate it too. So cold. I can't take it. I'm like, oh my God, every time I try to do it and it's like, oh, but I know that there's a benefit to both. Like I'm such a heat person. Like I don't mind the heat, but oh my gosh, the cold is like brutal.
Yeah. I did want to mention too, like people can I give so much information off my Instagram. If they just, look me up, Ashley J Shields Fit.
Yes.
And they can get tons of information.
Yeah, don't get inflammation from going to her page for sure. This has been amazing. I'm so glad you were able to join me, and we've been talking about doing this for a while. And I hope that this has been informative for people listening. I know that it's real. Like I said, I just wanted to share my experience also with my gut and with my hormone stuff and finding people who know what they're talking about and who specialize in it, I think is so important. And so I love it that you're on here and that you're another resource now that people can reach out to or at least follow and start gathering information and seeing if, working with a person is right for them. But keeping our bodies healthy, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like we only have one body and it's our home and it's where we live. So keeping it healthy, that's our quality of life, right? So
it is. I mean, what I went through, I'll do anything to keep my body, good, moving in the right direction. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining. This episode went by so quickly, and we're going to put all your information, your contact stuff, and obviously you're going to be on our Instagram, and we'll put all of your contact, where to find Ashley, on Instagram, and then any other, like, do you have a website or anywhere else? We'll make sure we send people to the right place.
Yeah, I have a website. It's just www.totalbodybyashley.com.
Perfect.
Look me up that way, and I do free consultations if you just want to talk to me. I can give you some insight too. So
that's amazing. That's really good. Find out if it's something that somebody needs or whatever. Well, thanks, Ashley. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Yes, this is awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and I'll see you next time on another episode of Until It's Done, a Devoted podcast.